Hello, if you're watching after the fact. There's no one here yet, so I'm not going to start just yet. Just get this under control before we start. Fringe is out of control. Hope you're all okay out there. Sorry about the delay, but it is a live, so I do want to hang on a couple of minutes just to let people join if they want to come in. Hey sis, how you doing? It's not showing anyone's watching. I wonder why it hasn't come up. Thought you there. Hi, how you doing? Oh no, it's showing one. It's okay. It wasn't. I was mumbling to myself then because I didn't realise anyone was watching because it normally shows up here. Anyway, I was gonna get a whole new hello. I was gonna get a whole new setup and do a back facing camera and do the laptop, and that was the whole hi Kelly. That was the whole idea, and I've just spent the past 2 hours trying to sort the laptop out and it just hasn't worked. So I hope this is okay for you. Hiya Nat, how you doing? Yeah, oh look at you're all on time, you're fabulous. Okay, I did mention it earlier last week when I did my first live. Oh, hello, Hayley. I've seen Edward's family, but I wasn't sure who it was. How you doing? Last week when I was doing it, I thought I could obviously answer a few at the beginning, a few comments at the beginning, get on with the story, come back, answer at the end, and then any that I'd missed, I'd be able to go in after the fact and reply. No, once the live's done, that's it. You can't view the comments, you can't go back in and reply. So I'm so sorry to anyone who replied, who commented last week. And it looked like I was really rude on the night. I hadn't meant it. I was very hyped up last week because obviously stressed and everything else. But I'm a bit calmer. How you feel? I'm a bit calmer this week now. She says, as the nerves are starting to kick in again. I'm very aware that I got a lot going on here. So, okay. What time is it? I'm gonna give it a go in a sec. Can you all hear me quite clearly and can you see me quite clearly and everything else before I start? Because I did notice last week there was my voice was a bit distorted towards the end. So if that happens throughout the live, please let me know. Just so there's not anything I can do about it at the time, but just let me know because I can maybe jiggle with it or something or talk a bit louder. And then what else was there that excellent? I'm glad you can all hear me. What else was that I meant to say about last week's live? I can't remember, but anyway, what I'm gonna do, same as last week. I'm gonna once I've started. Right, okay. This is what threw me off last week. You'll see there's a name that pops up in the comments, Tiffany. That's my sister. And last week, I didn't quite get what was going on because I'd say something and then next thing you know, my sister had told the same thing and I was very confused by what was going on. And then she explained to me afterwards, she was just updating people who were joining later. So now I've got what she was doing because she was completely throwing me off. And then there was someone else who was like, glad you're not dead, which nearly broke me. I nearly burst out laughing, and it was such a really serious part of the story I was doing. So what I'm gonna do, same as last week, I'm going to try and not get sidetracked by the comments at all. And that's not me being rude or ignoring anyone or anything else, I promise. What I'll do is I'll reply to everything at the end, and I genuinely will this week. Like I say, I thought I could go in after and I couldn't, and I just felt so rude. So, okay, right, I'm gonna start right now. So you can chat amongst yourselves. Honestly, that won't throw me off. It's only if it's coming through to me and I'm like, oh my god, I'm being so rude, I'm not answering. But Right, okay, we're going to start now. So any comments afterwards, I'll respond to at the end. Okay, what time is it? It's time now, isn't it? So, okay. This is the horrific Andrew Harper story. Not sure if you're aware of this one. It genuinely is awful. It's quite upsetting. Just that something can happen so quickly. Just not expected at all. Just a lives ruined without you even second thought. I know what I'm trying to say, but anyway. Okay, Andrew Harper. Andrew Harper was born on the 22nd of March 1991. He grew up in Wallingford, Oxfordshire. Not a lot about his early years, to be honest, other than it just says that when he was 15, so I am going to jump quite further on, but when he was 15, he met the love of his life, and her name was Lissy Beckett, and they met when they were 15, and they just hit it off, and just they grew up together, and they well, I don't know if they couldn't have met at college. He went to Henley College, but they couldn't have met there at 15, so they've got to have met at school. Less than out at school. Anyway, they were 15. And as he got older, Andrew was a big guy, not heavy set, I suppose you'd say. Got to be so careful what you say. But he was 6 foot tall. He was 14 stone. He's a big guy. But they called him a gentle giant because he was the most, from what I've read about him, he was just a very easygoing fella, really kind, looked out for his family, but he could switch on that protective mode quite quickly if need be. And so it wasn't a surprise to anyone that when in 2010, when he was 19, he'd always wanted to be a policeman. It was that protective element of his personality that just, not just his family. He wanted to protect everybody. He was just that kind of fella. So in 2010, age 19, he became a special constable. So Did they volunteer? Did they get paid? I wonder. The special ones. Does anyone know? I don't know if they get. I'm assuming they get paid. I mean, they can still get hurt, can't they? Anyway, so that's what he did. And he'd done such a good job of it that a year later, Thames Valley Police took him on as a proper police constable. So, he did what he'd always wanted to do. So, actually, it was in 2011 this happened. So, he was 20. It was everything he'd wanted. Him and Lissy were together, just living his life, living the best life. Now, on the 18th of July 2019, he marries Lissy when he's 28, I believe. 28? Yes, 28. And she is as well. And they have this beautiful big wedding to start their lives together. They're not set to go on honeymoon for about 4 weeks afterwards. But, it was this big fairy tale wedding, everyone said. It was just amazing. And it was just supposed to be the start of this wonderful life together. Oh, and it goes so badly wrong so quickly. I'm sorry. I know I'm just the bearer of bad news, aren't I? But you're on the channel, so you know. Okay, so we fast forward now to it's 11. I'm so sorry. My sister threw me again. And it's because I've seen it and I'm like, did I say that right? But I know why she's doing it. She's explained why she's doing it. Carry on, Tiff, carry on. Okay. So on the 15th of August 2019, so about 4 weeks after they got married, at 11:17 p.m. There's a call to 999, and it's from a man saying that for the second time that day. From what I've looked at, and when I've looked into this case, it looks like possibly at the end of a country road. Now, I have got some family that live in Skegness, some friends that live in Skegness, and there's a lot of those country roads. And on those roads, it tends to be, although you do sometimes get two cars trying to pass, really it should be, a one car through, wait, and then the other car come through. Because there's no pavements, no nothing. So they're quite small. So at the top of one of these country winding roads is where this fella lived. And like I say, he phoned 999 because, which is the British emergency services. And earlier on in the day, he'd noticed a car pull up outside his house, 4 lads in the car, all covered, like balaclavas and stuff. He didn't know what they were after, but he came out to them, and because it was quite light, they drove off and went. And to be honest, he thought that'd be the end of it because they knew he was in. He didn't think they'd have the cheek to come back. Anyway, at 11:17 p.m. the same night, he makes this call to 999, and you can hear it online. And he's basically saying there's some lads outside pulled up in a silver Seat Toledo. I hope I pronounced Toledo, yes. And they're sniffing around outside. You could tell on the phone that he didn't quite know what they were up to. Were they going to try and break in? Would it be a home invasion? He did have a £10,000 quad bike outside his house, so he thought, are they coming for that? So while he's on the phone to police, obviously they ask if they got any weapons, and he says, yeah, he could see an axe in their hand. He could see other things. He wasn't quite sure what they were. But this fella he wasn't having any of it. So he turns around to the operator and he says, look, I'm going out there. And of course, she's like, no, they've got weapons. The police are on their way. They're en route. Please don't go out and approach these people. So the call kind of cuts off. He comes back to the phone. He says they've gone. So what they'd actually done was got tied up his quad with a rope to the Seat Toledo. One of the lads has jumped on the back of the quad to steer it, and they've pulled it down this country lane. Okay. So now we go back to Andrew. Now, Andrew, at this point, had transferred. This is what's very sad. He transferred to the Thames Valley Police Road Unit only about 6 weeks before this. And he was actually out with his partner, a man called Andrew Shaw. Now, obviously, there's 2 Andrews, so I'm going to call Andrew Harper, and Andrew Shaw, to save getting them confused. So they're out staking out a completely different area, not far, a couple of miles away, when the call comes through. Now, they'd been off duty for 4 hours. They were done. Their shift was finished. But they'd spent a bit longer at this other place they were at, like staking out this place. They were on their way back, and it wasn't far from where they were coming back to. So they got onto the operator and they says, we'll take it. We're not far. We'll see what's going on. So, I'm sorry, I've completely had a bit of a brain block there. See, this is the problem when you're live, because if I wasn't live, I could just go pause, take a breath, and then, but I'm back. I'm sorry. Brain went off then. You'll see why in a second. I do get myself really head up on these cases. Right. So thank you. Thanks, Hayley. I just, yeah, I find my temper starting to boil and then my mouth runs away with me. Okay, but I promise my mum I'm not going to swear in this one this week because my mum did watch last week and she, yeah. Okay, so in that car, do you remember the lads I said that had pulled off with the quad? So now they're on their way down the country road. Harper and Shaw are coming up the country road. Now, remember, you can't really get past each other on these country roads. You have to stop. Now, Shaw and Harper, they're in a what you call it, a BMW. It was an undercover. It was an undercover. So it wouldn't have been obvious at first to these lads coming down the country road, the car that they were coming up against. But as soon as they've come head to head now, Andrew's put the blues on, you know, made it very obvious, you know, we've got you. And you see this on the car camera. You can see this online. Certain parts, obviously, thank goodness you can't see, but you can see this part. In that car were 3 lads, okay? You have Henry Long, who's driving the car. He's 18. You have Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole are both 17. So obviously one just an adult, the other 2 minors. Now these 3 lads were from the local traveller community caravan park. They were known for around the area. This wasn't their first rodeo. They'd been stealing for quite a while. And they just thought it was another, we're going to get this quad and we're going to get the money on it. I don't believe they went out with the intention of hurting anybody. I'll just say that straight off. But I don't think they cared. I'll put that out there. So when the cars come head to head now, Andrew Harper gets out of the car because he was the passenger. Andrew Shaw was driving. So Andrew Harper gets out of the car. As this is happening, at the same time, Jesse Cole, who was on the quad and steering it and being pulled by the rope behind the Seat Toledo, who had, like I say, Henry Long driving, Albert Bowers in the passenger seat. Jesse jumps off the quad in a split second, runs forward to the front of the quad and takes the rope off it that it was being dragged by. Now the rope is it's attached to the Seat, it's attached to the car, but it's loose now. But there's a hook, you know, like a noose type at the end. I don't know how you would say what that is at the end, but it's what you would put onto the quad to drag it, and that's what's just on the floor. So he's done that, and now what that Seat is trying to do with Henry Long and Albert Bowers in the car, you can see them trying to get round the police car. And like I say, it's very, very tight. It's a really tight country road. So they're actually going down the verge and coming round the police car. At the same time, Jesse Cole is running this side of the police car. So they're trying to come round the police car at that moment. Of course, Andrew Harper could be seen as he'd got out the car. He's come round. The one car's come this way, Jesse Cole's come this way, and Andrew Harper is running after them. So now you've got Andrew Shaw, the driver of the BMW undercover police car, now being like, oh my God. So as the car goes round, Jesse Cole goes round, Andrew Harper goes behind him, he puts his car in reverse and he starts reversing. Andrew Shaw does. Okay. So as he's reversing, he's on the radio saying, you know, say at Toledo, they've sped off, they've, you know, explained everything that's just happened. But he also says he now can't see Andrew Harper, PC Harper. He can't see him. So as he's reversing at quarter speed. There's like a fork in the road, so he manages to turn the police car around, well, the BMW around. And he's then front facing and he's going along the country road. And like I say, you can see, you wouldn't know what you were looking for because it is dark. You've only got the lights of the car. As he's driving down this country lane, I will tell you the name of the country lane in a second. You start to notice there's debris on the road. And he carries on driving until after a couple of seconds, you see him pull over, and it's actually PC Harper's stab vest split in two. PC Harper's not there, but that's his stab vest. Now imagine a stab vest on a police officer. You know, it's quite fitted, isn't it? So all of a sudden, over the radio, as Andrew Shaw's driving, very concerned for his colleague and his friend, still chasing after these three hoodlums, is for want of a better word. And there comes through over the message that there's a body being found in the road. So he actually says, he goes, I think that's PC Harper. So when Andrew Shaw comes to the end, now let me tell you these roads, okay? The road they were driving down was Lanes Junction, at the Lanes Junction. So what road was it now? They're by the A4 Bath Road anyway. That's where they are. That's where this junction is. So you've got the country road, and it kind of, there's a busy road here, the A4, and the Sayat goes straight across, so doesn't stop to see what's coming here, flies straight across and carries on down another country road. When a police officer who'd heard all this going on over the radio was coming down the A4, he'd seen something come off a car that had sped across. There was also a witness who seen the same thing coming from a different direction. He thought it was a deer. That's what he thought it was. But sure, no, he knew. And when he got there, the attending police officer was performing CPR on, is it CPR? On Andrew Harper. When the paramedics got there, okay, now let me tell you the times. Sorry, I've got myself. So the original call came in at 11:17. Okay, that's when the original call came in. At 11:28 was when Harper and Shaw came onto Admore Lane and came head to head with the Sayat. That was at 11:28. Now we're at 11:30 is when Shaw hears on the radio. 2 minutes is when he hears on the radio that there's a body in the road. Okay. When the paramedics come, it said that Andrew Harper was so damaged that the paramedic asked the police officer to stop trying to resuscitate him because it would have been cruel. That's how bad it was. He just said stop. And Andrew Harper, gentle giant, who'd only gone into that job role 6 weeks beforehand, a job he loved, protecting people, and who'd only got married to the love of his life, his childhood sweetheart, 4 weeks beforehand. He was pronounced dead at 11:45 p.m, less than half an hour after the original call came in. No honeymoon, no life together, just gone. Because some kids didn't want to go out and work. They wanted to steal. And this isn't me being harsh or judgmental. I mentioned the fact they were travellers only because you'll hear in a second why I've mentioned their who they are. But these lads, they didn't work. They didn't. No, I'm not. No, most travellers, as we know, the blokes work hard. That's what they do. The women stay at home. They have very, very old-fashioned gender roles. I see nothing wrong with that. The men go out and they work and they earn money. They bring it home. The women are at home. They cook, they clean, they look after the kids. You know, I've seen they leave the plastic on everything to keep everything clean. You know, these travellers are, you know, they live a private life, but these three, for some reason, they didn't want to follow in those footsteps. They didn't want to work. They just wanted to go out and steal and take what everyone else has worked for. And because of that now, a young bloke's dead who done nothing ever but protect the people around him, his family, his friends, and then the public. And they dragged him for 91 seconds. Now, 91 seconds, you might think, okay, you know, that's a minute and a half. Count it out. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to do the 91 seconds, obviously, but I'm just saying, when you count each second out and imagine what happened, do you remember the loop that was pulling the quad bike? Well, when Andrew had run around the car after, what was that fella's name? Jesse Cole. When he'd run round after him, Jesse Cole jumped through the Sayat car's window. That's how he got into the car. As he's launched and gone into the car, Andrew Harper has launched for him, leaving both of his feet in a really kind of Final Destination. If you've ever seen that film, it's you know, it's just one of those such wrong time, wrong place moments. Both of his feet went into the loop of the rope. As they pulled off at top speed, remember these country roads now, at top speeds to get away, the rope lassoed round Andrew's feet. And that's how he was dragged. For a mile. They'd done that mile in 91 seconds. But he was dragged for a mile. On a country road. You know how rough those roads are. The damage they did to him was, to be honest, I know bits, but they've even kept some of it quiet. Like, I genuinely can't find out the ins and outs of exactly his injuries. They were that bad. Oh my God, do you know, I'm keeping it to myself. I'm keeping it in. I'm doing well. I think I'm doing well. But okay. So when that he was where am I? See, I've just so okay. When the Sayer when the Sayer has darted down the second road, remember I said they could come to the junction, he's gone from this road over, the police helicopters were out. Of course, the police were out in droves in minutes of this happening. One of their own had just been brutally... I don't care what the charges is, by the way. That to me is murder. I'll tell you why. You might be like, wow, they might not have realised he was behind, he was being... I'll explain to you why I think it's murder in a second. But all the police are out. One of their own's been killed. And the thermal imaging from the helicopter, as it's going along, it comes up to, it was called Four Corners Travellers Site. And the police helicopter picked up a hot car on the site. And there was four at the time, four kind of image. You know what the images are like, they're not very clear, but you know, you can see that there's four men sort of around the area. So the police fly in to Four Corners Travellers Site. Oh, and they're met with a wall of complete silence. It doesn't surprise me. What I know about travellers, they do definitely stick together. But once you know what these boys did, you would think that there'd be some sort of, you know, guilt or just some sort of, we've got to help. No. Wall of silence completely. Didn't care that this man had just been dragged to death for doing his job. Didn't care about that. No. We don't know anything and we're not saying anything. That was the whole campsite. So the police go in and they're like, okay. And they arrest 10 of them. There and then. Everyone they got hold of, they arrested them. Obviously males. They knew it was males, but they were covered. They had balaclavas on and stuff, so they couldn't, Andrew Shaw wouldn't have been able to identify them that way, but he knew they were males, and they all got dragged in, 10 of them. None of them were talking. None of them wanted to admit anything at first. Now, we know how this all goes, don't we? We know once they're separated and, you know, they know they've got a risk of going down for some considerable time, they all start talking eventually, don't they? Especially at that age. So, where am I now? So, let me bring you back today because I've got myself very carried away. So, they actually got arrested, those 10, at 10 to 1 on the 16th of August. So within, it was set 20 past 11, 20 past 12. So within an hour and a half, the crime had been committed, the robbery had been committed. PC Harper had been murdered, and they'd got them. Well, they'd got who they believed was part of the group. All so quick, so quick this was. On the 17th, right. What was that word? Okay. Anyway, Andrew Harper died from multiple injuries. It was said that it was such a severe brain injury that when there is one kind of, what's the words I'm looking for now? I've got such a brain block at the minute. You know, a blessing. if you can use that word, but when the lasso dragged him, he hit his head so hard that it was said by the pathologist that he would have been unconscious from then. So, you know, I suppose your image is of this man being dragged along for that amount of time and being aware of everything. But the pathologist did say that once that first bang to the ground had happened, which created that catastrophic brain injury, he wouldn't have been aware of much more or any more. We don't know, but that's what the pathologist is saying. On the 18th of September 2019, so a month later, consolation. Thank you, Phil. Consolation. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. Thank you. This is a good thing about going live. I can get a bit of help. So on the 18th of September 2019, Henry, Albert, and Jesse, they were those three. They got the three that like I said, they'd all started talking, and they charged the three with murder. Now, when they were getting this case ready to go to trial, what the prosecution had done was did that journey, because what they wanted to prove was that those three lads knew that Andrew Harper was behind them. They wanted to prove that they knew, because if they knew, that would be murder, because they obviously didn't stop, they carried on going. The three lads, although admitting to the theft of the quad bike, were having none of that. They said, we didn't know, we had no idea that that was going on, we had no idea that there was anything behind, although I'm not sure which one of them said it. Obviously, it would have had to have been one, either Bowers or Cole, the two younger ones, because they were saying that there was banging, and Long, the driver, the older one, he was turning up the radio, you know, to drain out whatever sounds there was. So there was rumours that they knew, they did know what was going on. So the prosecution, they go out and they attach to the back of the car. They kind of do an experiment, and they attach to the back of a police car a weight of 14 stone. I think it's like 190 pounds, something like that, and bomb it down this country road to see what the weight would do, because don't forget, this is pulling the car. And yeah, this experiment, for want of a better word, of these police officers who were trying to see, would you know if you were dragging a 6 foot tall 14 stone man behind you? They couldn't even reach the speeds that these lads were doing. It was too dangerous. These lads were trying to hit 50 miles an hour, going down this country road at 20 past 11 at night, dragging behind them PC Andrew Harper. And it was said what they were doing was swerving from side to side, trying to get him off. And when they'd gone across the intersection, he'd hit a curb, and that's how he come away from the car. Oh, do you know, the words I have for these kids, the words, young men, I don't know what to call them, and I don't think they deserve anything other than kids, but very evil kids. You know, they can't be called men, you know. So that's why the prosecution went after murder, because they, in their mind, had proven through this experiment that there was no way they couldn't have known that he was behind them. There was no way. Now, Bowers and Cole had admitted to conspiracy to steal the quad, but not manslaughter. They were charged with murder. Long, the driver, he admitted manslaughter, he did, and conspiracy to steal the quad. So he went ahead and pled guilty, he did. But the other two, no. Do you know why I'm so angry? Let me let you in why I'm so angry on this one. Everything I'm telling you, perfectly good reason to be angry. But when this live's finished, I want you to just you don't have to watch the video, because I know I don't put photos in, I don't put videos in, because some people just don't want that image in their head confirmed. I get that. But if you just want to look at these fellas, the lads I'm talking about, there's a photo online, there's a couple of them actually, of when they were getting brought into their trial. Now, their trial began on the, when did their trial start now? They were trying to do it December 2019 and going round into January and February of 2020. We all know what 2020 brought us. It was a great gift. So it kept on getting put off, their trial did. But there's photos of these fellas being taken from, it looked like, from the courthouse into, the lorry or truck or whatever it is, with the windows that takes them off. And the picture of two of them, just have a look. Just have a look after the live's finished, and you'll see exactly why I'm so angry in this one. Because they're laughing. Oh, they're laughing. They found this a great crack. They found this all very funny. And it's just absolutely horrific to see the photo. After everything I've just explained to you about this poor, kind, gentle giant, as he was called, the life he was starting with his new wife of a month. They hadn't even gone on their honeymoon. They didn't even make it that far. And these fellas are laughing. So, we get to the trial. On the 23rd, oh yeah, there is another part. So, COVID held up the trial. Now, the trial was going on for 5 weeks. So, we get to the 23rd of June, 2020. That's when the trial started, 23rd of June 2020, because it had been held off for COVID and stuff. So it had gone on for 5 weeks. Now, on the 20th of July 2020, a day before they were going to, when they go to deliberate on guilty or not guilty, a juror, a girl, had been seen by one of the court security winking at the boys and miming, "Bye, boys. Bye, boys." A juror. So she had to get taken off the jury there and then. On top of all of this, you've got the friends and family of these 3 lads shouting and cheering and intimidating the jury. Everything for these guys not to have to sit and get a proper trial. To me, if you're doing that, then aren't you, let's say you're trying to protect your boys, let's say, aren't you jeopardizing them by doing that? That doesn't make sense to me. Intimidate the jury, because if you get found out, you're jeopardizing their chance of getting a fair trial. It's just crazy to me. It's all such a mess. And during all of this, every single day, Lissy Harper sat there every single day and heard everything that was done to her husband, all his injuries, which she asked the media not to release, which they obviously agreed. And she sat with such, it was said, just such respect and decorum. And then you had these animals just there laughing about it. I mean, it must have took everything in her to keep her hands to herself. I don't know. I know it would have with me. I know it would have. I don't know if I'd have kept my hands to myself. I just don't know. So on the 21st, you're going to get, you ready? On the 24th of July, let's remember, when you're watching these, let's remember this is the UK justice system. We know how I feel about it. Again, 24th of July 2020, they're cleared of murder. They couldn't prove that they knew he was behind the car. Even with the experiment, even with everyone knowing there was no way in hell these boys didn't know they were dragging that man for a mile behind them, ripping him limb from limb. They were guilty and found guilty of manslaughter. And on the 31st of July 2020, Long got 16 years. He was the 18-year-old. Let me tell you his age. Henry Long, 18, got 16 years. Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole, who were obviously both 17 years of age, they got 13 years. They'll be out when they're 30. Oh, your man only got, what, did he get 3 years more? So he'll be out when he's 30, what? So if he was 18, so he'll be 34. 33, 34. Maths took a hit there, but as I was researching this story, I was like, I know I'm going to be so angry. And I've done so many. I've done, over 100 stories, and I get very worked up by a lot of them, but I think this one bothered me so much because of the photo that's out. Well, there's a couple of photos, like I say, go and have a look. And you'll see them. Now, they look like kids. They genuinely do, two of them. They look like kids. But see how you feel about them as kids when you see that picture. They did, Natalie, they did know. I won't believe for a second they did not know that poor fellow was being dragged behind them. It's horrific story. Okay. I haven't even got to it yet. They tried to appeal. They felt that the sentence was too long. All of them tried to appeal. It keeps going. Now, luckily, they tried to appeal. It was turned down on the 16th of December 2020. Now, Lissy, obviously, on the other side, 100% believed, and I agree, that these sentences they're not acceptable by any means. So she thought that. She thought it'd be Priti Patel. Let me just, I can tell you, Priti Patel was at that time, she was the Home Secretary at that time, and they all fought to try and get these sentences lengthened. Just like on the other side, these people were trying to let more off, and neither happened. They didn't get any longer, but they didn't get any shorter either. The sentences have stayed. They're And they're not allowed to appeal again. So they will do the 13 years, the two of them, and the 16 years for long. But Lissy, you know, and you just can't imagine this girl, this young girl, she's 28, and her life's just been destroyed. And she says in his eulogy, she says, I'm just, not his eulogy, sorry about, it was the, you know, at the trial when the family can give their words. And she says, I'll just never be the same person again, ever. There's two Lissys. There's the one before this and the one after. And the one after is a complete shell compared to the one from before. 28 years of age and life destroyed. But she didn't just go in a cave and hide, which I would. I can't imagine, but I would imagine that I'd just hold myself up somewhere for years. But she doesn't, and she campaigned tirelessly, because I think she was so disgusted by the sentence that they got. She campaigned tirelessly to bring in Harper's Law. And what this says, it was added to the statute on the 28th of April 2022, which means that mandatory life sentences to anyone who commits manslaughter of an emergency worker on duty while carrying out another crime. So, you know, I love that she's done that. And I love that, you know, this has been brought into law at the same time our life sentences. See, in America, their life sentences, their life, they'd see her. Never to see light of day again, 9 times out of 10. Here, 15 years? 20? I think there was a thing in there that if it was I think it's a police officer, it's a mandatory 20 years. I think I did see that somewhere. 20 years though? Why can't we just say life's life? You know, give them their appeals if you want, in case there's been a miscarriage of justice and something's gone horribly wrong. I know it happens, but life's life. That's it. And once you've exhausted all your appeals, bye-bye. See ya. At least your family get to come and visit you. You know, it's just crazy, our system here. It just drives me. It gets me so angry. It really does. But yeah, that's Andrew, the Andrew Harper story. So annoyed with this one. I think what's annoyed me is they laughed through the trial. Their family laughed. The sentences, the fact that there was a juror who was winking at them, and, you know, bye boys. There's just so many things that just irritated me about this whole thing. The wall of silence at the caravan site when the boys got back, and that they would have known what they did to this man. He was 28 years of age. He had his whole life ahead of him. He didn't even get to go on his honeymoon. Just horrific, just an absolutely horrific story. And if you do get 2 minutes, go and have a look at those photos. It's just, there's nothing, it's not anything graphic for anyone who's obviously not into that. It's just the picture of the boys being taken. They're either going to the jail. I think they're coming out and they're going into the truck. And the one's just there like this and laughing. The two of them are laughing and the one's there like this. And you just want to box them. You genuinely would. But, yeah, that's the awful story of PC Andrew Harper. And thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, what I'm gonna do, while I'm here, I'm gonna try and bring those comments back just so I can have a look. Because like I say, I don't get to see these afterwards. And I feel terrible that you've taken your time and you're commenting. I haven't really said anything back. So let me just have a quick nose while I'm on here. If you are watching tomorrow, I'm sorry, you don't have to stick around for now if you can't see the comments. So, but thank you for watching tomorrow. Future self, future people. My God, it's late. I'm tired today. I think that's what it's gotta be. Yeah, it's that Natalie. It was. He must have been absolutely terrified, and all I can take comfort in is that the fact that the pathologist did say that with that first bang, that was it. He wouldn't have been conscious for anything else. So we can just hope that. I've seen on other comments elsewhere where I've been researching, I can't remember where it was that I've seen this little bit, and someone put that they could hear him screaming and that's why they turned up the music. There's no proof to say that ever happened. I've seen nothing to say that there was any proof that he was awake for any longer than that first head bang. It was a catastrophic injury, so I don't. It upsets me when there's a story that's so bad, and then people embellish it even more. I don't get that. Now, if that did happen, that's devastating. But I haven't personally seen that anywhere where I've looked. On all the platforms I've looked and all the research I've done, I haven't heard that. So I don't think that's a case at all. I don't think that happened. Phil, thank you so much. Thank you. I've really appreciated you joining. Natalie, thank you so much. Tiffany, as usual, thank you. Hayley, thank you again. Where am I? Do you know what? I think it was just us tonight. And you know what? It was cozy and I didn't feel nervous because I know you all. And yeah, thank you all. I did see there was Kelly on here as well. So thank you all for joining me. I've appreciated it so much. I love doing these lives. I love doing it with you. I love the interaction of it. Although I know I have to. See, I'll get sidetracked and you see when it happens and then I get annoyed with myself and everything else. But I'm getting there. I'm starting to get the hang of it. And yeah, I never know how to end this. I really don't. My sister will tell you, if you're still here, Natalie and Hayley, I used to do a jingle, my own jingle. And it was, she's going to be shouting at the screen now going, don't do it, Jess, don't do it. But it was, what was it now? Like, comment, look, I told you, she's telling me now, like, comment, subscribe. It was a whole jingle. It really was. It was really good. And then my sister banned me completely from it. But it helped me end the story. And it was like, comment, subscribe. And, yeah, that was it. And Natalie, that was it. That was what she used to get annoyed about. I think it was the whole shoulder movement that I used to, but I kind of done like my own little jingle of it. All right, Tiff, I won't do it anymore, but please like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. But thank you all so much again. I've really appreciated it. I've really enjoyed doing this story with you all. I'll be back again. I'll be back again next Thursday. I'll try and do 8 o'clock, but we'll see 8 and 9. Let me know how you feel if it's a bit late at 9. And what I'll do is I'll do a very short live on the morning on the Thursday to let you know what time and what story I'm doing. I'll pop one on my Facebook group that I'm with. that I've met Natalie in, and I will also pop it on Facebook itself. So thank you all again. I'm going to try and disappear now as professional as possible because I feel like I've finally got it sus. So I'm going to say like, comment, subscribe. Do you know what? I'm doing this to use and find myself quite funny, but this goes straight onto my YouTube account. So the people watching it, oh, do you know, they might enjoy it, they might. You never know. Right, and I'll see you all soon. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye. I'm still not gone. I haven't gone yet. I'm going. I am going. I haven't gone. I'm sorry. I know I'm going. Okay, is it working? Bye. There we go. I think I did it. Did I do it?